Today we're playing a brand new card from Avatar: The Last Airbender, Redirect Lightning, and I believe that this card could be better than Orim's Chant in Modern Ruby Storm. Let's go check it out. In front of you is Modern Ruby Storm, and today we're playing a brand new card from Avatar: The Last Airbender, Redirect Lightning. For 1 red, you have an instant lesson, which means that you can grab this card from your sideboard if you play a learn card, but we're not playing any of those today. Alright, and then as an additional cost to cast this spell, you can either pay 5 life or 2 generic mana, and this mana can be reduced by the Rail Monsoon Mage or Ruby Medallion. So you could pay 1 colorless, or if you have double reducer, it would cost just the single red without the 5 life, which is pretty interesting. And then change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. Why is this card potentially better than Orim's Chant? Well, you could redirect a lightning bolt that would be targeting your Rail Monsoon Mage back to one of your opponent's creatures. Okay. You could swerve a Thoughtseize back to your opponent. They do choose which card to discard, just a fun fact. But you wouldn't be discarding a card from your hand, which is pretty valuable. Okay. It's also ability. That's interesting. Okay, so you could potentially turn a Tormod's Crypt back at your opponent. And why would I say Tormod's Crypt? Well, one of the most popular decks in Modern right now is actually Izzet Affinity, and it plays 3 main deck Tormod's Crypt, and we're a deck with 3 main deck Past in Flames. So that swerve ability is relevant. Okay, so why is this really better than Orim's Chant? Well, I think the utility is why it's better. Like, Modern is just full of things like Thraben Charm and all sorts of other abilities that you're interested in not pointing at you. Is it as effective as Orim's Chant in beating hate? It depends. If your opponent has a ton of hate, Orim's Chant could be better. But if they have, specific hate like Thoughtseize, Tormod's Crypt, Lightning Bolt, Redirect Lightning might be better. It's also red, which means it's easier to cast off your basic mountains. You're not required to have your splash color. Today, our splash color is blue, primarily because I really like Into the Floodmaw. Into the Floodmaw is 1 mana and it answers anything. Okay. Prismatic Ending is nice because it permanently answers things, but it does cost more than 1 mana a lot of the time. And I like that Into the Floodmaw is just cheap and effective. The other thing about blue is that you get Flame of Anor, which we're playing 2 copies of today. I've cut the main deck Grapeshot from my previous 5-0 list that you can find in the card above, and then the second copy of Valakut Awakening. I did notice that some people were trimming out a land due to Heroes Hangout / Firebrain Scheme, and I said, okay, well, if we're cutting a land, I believe Valakut Awakening is probably the worst one, and I'm really interested in 2 copies of Flame of Anor. This is one of the big draws to being Izzet, in my opinion, is having this versatile removal spell in your main deck that also isn't bad on the combo turn because it draws cards. Obviously, you have the Wizard synergy with the Rail Monsoon Mage as well. So those are the changes. Today I'm trying out blue over white, and I'm really interested in seeing how Redirect Lightning does. The blue splash has always struggled because green has Veil of Summer, white has Orim's Chant, and blue had like Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm, but those weren't always amazing. I believe that Redirect Lightning could be the card to fill that role. Let's find out if that's true, and stick around and watch match number 1. I will see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1 with Izzet Ruby Storm. We're on the play. This seems delightful. We will keep. We'll play Scalding Turn and pass the turn. They play a Thundering Falls. Surveils away Lightning Bolt. Interesting. We'll activate the Scalding Turn and grab our own Thundering Falls. Get rid of that Steam Vents. We don't need it. Gemstone Caverns. That was a card I wasn't sure if I wanted to play today. I'm actually not a big fan of it, but when you're on 2 colors, I do think it's a little bit more free to play it. So we're playing the Gemstone Caverns. It's just, in your Heroes Hangout deck, I think every land making red mana is pretty valuable. I almost played a 3rd Thundering Falls over this card because we're only playing 1 Valakut Awakening. so you'd have one less tap land in your deck. I do think playing a third Thundering Falls would be completely reasonable. Our opponent casts a Ragavan. Sure. We'll go to our draw step. Manamorphose. We'll begin with a Reckless Impulse. Wish and a Ruby Medallion. Okay. We'll play the Bloodstained Mire, and let's fetch. Grab a basic. Esper Ritual. And then let's Manamorphose. Red, red. So if I play the Ruby Medallion, and then Wish, I could empty the Warrens. I'm worried about a Stubborn Denial. That is a card that I am fearful of here, because that would shut off the empty, and I'm not playing Galvanic Relay today. Let's try it, though. Wish, from 5, that resolves. And I think we just take the 12 Goblins here. Pass the turn. Galvanic Relay is a card where it looks really good when you choose to play it. The problem is I feel like I don't end up actually casting the card that often. So it's a nice to have. You could play a really big Wish board. But my issue with playing really big Wish boards, this comes from Legacy as well as Modern, is how often do you actually use the card? Every card in your sideboard is worth 7%, because if you divide 100 by 15, they're all roughly 7%, a little bit under. And are you using a card 7% of the time is generally my golden rule. And having a dead card in the sideboard like Galvanic Relay for a lot of situations isn't great when you could have cards you use more often, like Into the Floodmaw, Redirect Lightning, Fire Magic, things that I think are just a little bit more useful. All right, they're at 19. We've traded with the Ragavan. And now we draw Valakut Awakening. Let's cast the Valakut Awakening. Bottom the Gemstone Caverns and Reckless Impulse. Play the Arid Mesa. But I think we just go to combat here. Get in there. I'm not going to leave back a blocker. If they want to dash a Ragavan next turn, if that's why they made the trade, I think that's okay. Doorkeeper Thrall. We'll kill that. And now they'll take 11, and we'll pass the turn. They play a Flage, Titan of Fire's Fury, so they can kill a Goblin here and go up to 11, which puts them down to 1 life. So we don't have lethal, but we're still in a pretty good spot. We'll grab the Thundering Falls. Keep the Pyretic Ritual. I'm not really sure about that one. Play the Ren's Resolve. Okay, well that's going to get the job done. Let's attack. Swing. Play the Pyretic Ritual. Play Past in Flames. Cast Wish. And Grape Shot. Target you. Sweet. Alright, we excuse me, we win game number 1. So this is a matchup where I do think that Redirect Lightning is a little bit better than Orim's Chant, because they play a lot of creature removal. They also have counter magic like Stubborn Denial, things like that. I think I only want 3 to Redirect Lightning though. I'm going to leave 1 in the sideboard for Wish. They are a deck that also has traditionally played, losing my words here, Damping Sphere. We have Flame of Anor for Damping Sphere. I still think I would like a couple copies of Into the Floodmaw. I have seen like High Noon and stuff out of this deck before, so I think we want to be prepared. That puts us at 65. I believe it's okay to sideboard out 1 Past in Flames, and then probably the Firebrain Scheme / Heroes Hangout. We'll give this a go. We actually opened up on Gemstone Caverns. How about that? Alright, so I'll put the Gemstone Caverns into play. I feel like it's so rare that I actually open up on Gemstone Caverns and I want to cast something on turn 1. So this is it. Like, we have turn 1 Artist Talent. That's pretty good. And then we'll exile a Wooded Foothills. Flooded Strand. There is a downside to Redirect Lightning, by the way. It's awkwardly worded, or you could do it theoretically, but if you want to redirect a Leyline Binding, you have to have another permanent, which is just a tiny bit weird. I think we'll thinner deck of a land. I'll fetch. I go to 19, grab the Basic Mountain, and I'll play the Artist's Talent. Pass. I have a Temple Garden, and now I'm hit. I go to 17, and I reveal Rail Monsoon Mage. They play a Territorial Kavu, Ruby Medallion. I'll play the Basic Mountain, and I think we're just going to level up the Artist Talent this turn. Really playing into that Leyline Binding, but I think it's the correct thing to do. It also means that Ruby Medallion next turn is only a single mana. They attack. I'll take 6 down to 11. They exiled my Wooded Foothills. They were not interested in discarding a card and drawing a card. That is terrifying. And they do have the Leyline Binding. Okay. We draw Past in Flames. I'll play the Bloodstained Mire. and Ruby Medallion. They have Stubborn Denial. I cannot pay... I'm pretty sure it's just hard countered. Yeah, it's hard countered because they have Ferocious. So the pay 1 option was not there. And now I'll fetch and play Ren's Resolve. I don't think we're going to win this game. Here we go. They have 2 cards in hand. Rail Monsoon Mage and a Reckless Impulse. Well, that's a start. I need to draw mana. So if we drew like a Ritual for turn and maybe hit like a Manamorphose off the Reckless Impulse, there's a chance. I also need our opponent to not have creature removal. Asking for a lot here. And it looks like they have the Tribal Flames. No, Scion of Draco. Okay. So I'll take 7 down to 3. Lightning Bolt would kill me now. Do you want to discard your last card? It looks like they're going to here because that's the mode they chose. No, okay, they're going to exile. So they wanted to keep their last card. Another Rail Monsoon Mage. Okay, we'll play the first one. Off this Reckless Impulse, I think we need to hit like Manamorphose and... Ooh. Okay, well, I guess we're dead to Strict Serenade. Brutal. You got it. I will submit. I know that some people like boarding out Gemstone Caverns on the play. It's just a little sketchy. Like, we've already boarded out the Heroes Hangout / Firebrain Scheme. So doing that, I think is just like, having Hangout makes keeping one-landers more accessible, but then boarding out a land on the play and not having Heroes Hangout, I think is a little questionable. Do we surveil into land number 2 is the question with this hand. I mean, it's a really good hand otherwise. I'm going to mulligan. I think if the Artist Talent was a Ruby Medallion, I'd keep. But the fact that I have to level it up, I think, is the difference maker. And this hand is unplayable. Looks like we're going to 5. Bummer. We'll keep this. I don't think I'm allowed to keep the Redirect Lightning on a mulligan to 5. And then the Desper Ritual. Play Thundering Falls. Keep the Ren's Resolve. We'll pass. They have a first turn Steam Vents. And a Ragavan. Classic. Okay, we'll play the Wooded Foothills and fetch. Grab the basic mountain. And Ruby Medallion. Pass the turn. Ragavan connects. We go to 17. They exile the Scalding Tarn. They play Arid Mesa. And a Territorial Kavu holding open the Arid Mesa. Interesting. I'd like to play Ren's Resolve. So Stubborn Denial would counter this. But I'll play the Desper Ritual. That resolved, okay. Let's try Manamorphose. Make red blue. We hit the land. Play Reckless Impulse. Another Manamorphose. We'll cast that. Red. Another Reckless Impulse. So if I continue to play the Reckless Impulse and I don't hit any mana, I lose to a Stubborn Denial. I'll play the Past in Flames. 1 red floating. This might bait out a Stubborn Denial that I could actually pay for. It did not. Play the Bloodstained Mire. We'll fetch. Grab a basic. Play the Desper Ritual. Manamorphose. Red. Manamorphose again. Blue-red. We'll play Rail Monsoon Mage. Alright, well, they didn't do anything there, so that makes me wonder if the card they have in their hand is consigned to memory. They're going to fetch now. So I could have played Wish proactively for Redirect Lightning, but if the card in their hand was consigned to memory, it's not a good move. And I could always Flame of Anor in response to try to flip the rail. So I don't think that I necessarily need to try to protect the rail here with Redirect Lightning. It looks like they have a Lightning Bolt. We'll respond with Flame of Anor. We get both modes. So we'll draw 2 and kill the Territorial Kavu. And now I get another chance to flip the rail here. I'll say Tails. We lost the flip. Flame of Anor. And now I drew the Redirect Lightning. Okay, so I would only have 1 red floating. That's my concern here. But I would get to keep the rail. I'll pay 5 life. Target the Lightning Bolt. And I get another chance to flip. I'll say Tails. We lose the flip. Redirect Lightning. I'll send it back at the Ragavan. And now I can try to flip the Rail Monsoon Mage again. Tails. And we win the flip. So Redirect Lightning just won match number 1. How about that? Pyretic Ritual. I guess I maybe didn't need it to live, based on what I exiled off the Ren's Resolve, was it? Yeah, Ren's Resolve. But if I wouldn't have hit a Ritual, I would have needed it. So I'll take the dub here. We'll play Wish and Grape Shot. Redirect Lightning looked pretty good there, I have to say. Got to cast it off red mana too, so I didn't have to float an awkward color. Impressive. Grape shot on the stack, and we win the first match. I liked it. Let me know what you think of that situation in the comments down below, but for now we're going to hop on in to match number 2, and I'll see you there. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. For round number 2 on the draw, we've opened up a stellar hand we will keep. Arid Mesa for a Steam Vents. Monastery Swift Spear. Alright, so the Izzet Prowess deck. My fear is that I don't get a turn 3. That's how fast this deck is. Okay. They have 3 cards in their hand. They're about to drop to a 4th with the Mishra's Bauble. I'll take 2 down to 18. And now they draw. Past in Flames was a good draw. We'll play Bloodstained Mire and pass. I mean, I suppose I could Heroes Hangout looking for a reducer, but I already have the Artist Talent. I think I'm going to just take the Surveil. They play a Preordain and Arid Mesa. So this puts me down to 16. The Fetch will put me down to 15. This deck can deal a lot of damage out of nowhere, so I am worried about being dead. Another great reason to play Into the Floodmaw. This is currently the second most popular deck on Goldfish. Into the Floodmaw can stop them from killing you on their turn, where Prismatic Ending can't. And then they, you know, put a ton of resources into it. I'll fetch. I'm at 15. Grab the Thundering Falls. Keep the land. So the land is nice because on turn 3 I want to level up Artist Talent, but I'm going to Pyretic Ritual first, which means I can Pyretic Ritual. Like, turn 3 is my combo turn, assuming that I live. So having the land is pretty important. We'll play Artist Talent. So next turn, the game plan is I play Mountain, I play Pyretic Ritual, I level up, and now my other Pyretic Ritual costs 1, and then from there I play Reckless Impulse and Heroes Hangout looking for more mana into Past in Flames that wins the game. Or a Steel Cutter, so I am not dead. Great news. Or at least I don't believe I'm dead. Maybe I shouldn't have said that first. I could be dead here, I suppose. They could play land, and then I always forget the name of the card, but it's like 1 red. If your creature has... I should just look it up instead of trying to guess. It like gives their creature double strike. Violent Urge, instant for 1 red. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Delirium, double strike. So that theoretically kills you out of nowhere. But I do get a 3rd turn, and now we're going to attempt to win. I'll fetch to thin my deck. I mean, it's a marginal percentage point, but every little thing helps, especially when you're drawing a bunch of cards with Artist Talent. So we'll play the Pyretic Ritual, auto-yield to this, discard the Mountain, and now we level up Artist Talent, play the Pyretic Ritual, trigger again, discard the Bloodstained Mire, Pyretic Ritual, we'll play Reckless Impulse for 1 red, discard the Arid Mesa. Alright, we did not hit more mana. That's really not good. We'll play Heroes Hangout, and discard the other Heroes Hangout. Ugh, it's a lot of lands we've drawn. Let's see it. I fizzled. Okay. No Manamorphose, no more rituals. I'll play the Rail Monsoon Mage as a blocker. Oh, I can't because it's a non-creature spells are reduced, not red cards. So I'll play the Ruby Medallion, discard the Steam Vents. Oh, the next card. Classic. Brutal. Pass the turn. They play land number 3. Slick Shot Show Off. Any spell here kills me. That definitely kills me. Alright, so we lost game number 1. Just the next card likely would have gotten us there, but it didn't work out. So we'll try again. I definitely want the Into the Floodmaws. I think Flame of Venor is a little slow in this matchup, and then we'll board out 2 copies of Heroes Hangout. And we'll try this. Still on the play, I'm going to keep in the Gemstone Caverns. I think we just want the extra land. Like, boarding down to 17 when I'm already playing 1 less land, I think is a little risky. Game number 2 on the play. A 4-lander, no reducer. I really like reducers in this matchup. I think you can maybe get away with not keeping one if you have Into the Floodmaw to buy time, but this hand doesn't, so I think I'm going to mulligan. This is a 1-lander, no reducer. We'll go to 5. Keep, get rid of the Heroes Hangout, and Rail Monsoon Mage. It might seem weird to you to get rid of the Rail Monsoon Mage, But our opponent is a Lightning Bolt deck. With Ruby Medallion, I don't have to worry about my card getting Lightning Bolted. You could keep both reducers, but then you only have one action spell, and what if the first one doesn't hit? So I think it's just a little risky to keep the Rail Monsoon Mage. On 6 cards, I definitely would have kept it. They play a first turn Steam Vents into Swift Spear. Sure. Now they attack, I go to 19. I will fetch, grab the Thundering Falls, Surveil. Don't think I want a third Reckless Impulse effect. Into the Floodmaw, play Ruby Medallion, and I'll pass. They play a Mountain into Quarry Steelcutter. Okay. Mishra's Bauble, so now the Quarry Steelcutter triggers, making a Monk with Prowess, Haste, and Trample. 5 damage coming in. A lot. Okay. So they'll draw back up to 5 cards. I'm at 13. Let's start with the Desperate Ritual. Reckless Impulse. Okay, now we're cooking. Heretic Ritual. Ren's Resolve. Play the Bloodstained Mire. We'll fetch. Grab a basic. Ren's Resolve. And now I need to Past in Flames. We'll play Desperate Ritual. Heretic Ritual. Reckless Impulse from the graveyard. We hit a Rail Monsoon Mage. I think we play that. And I have a couple opportunities to flip here. Reckless Impulse trigger. Tails. Yes. Now Reckless Impulse resolves. Let's ultimate the Rail Leyline Prodigy. Heretic Ritual. So what I like about this is that I'm most likely going to be able to win the game without ever showing our opponent and into the Floodmaw. So they won't know about it going into game 3. I guess maybe that's not true. I'd have to find the wish soon without them seeing it. So I might have to show them one. Should have played the Artist Talent sooner. Manamorphose, trigger, discard, another into the Floodmaw. Okay, they conceded. Game 3. No changes on my side. Fine hand, we'll keep. They mulligan to 6, they play a Wooded Foothills. Steam Vents is back, now they're at 17 for a first turn Preordain. 2 on the bottom. Gemstone Caverns right on time, baby. Play Scalding Tarn and pass. You play a Fiery Islet, Monastery Swift Spear. Ouch. I'm at 19. We'll fetch. Thundering Falls. Get rid of the Bloodstained Mire, we don't want that. A second Rail Monsoon Mage. That's decent here because if they do have a Lightning Bolt, I'm not going to care as much. We'll pass the turn. And they do have Lightning Bolt. Okay. They play Expressive Iteration. Prowess. So their creature is now a 2/3. And they reveal Dragon's Rage Channeler. So they play Steam Vents, and now the Dragon's Rage Channeler. I'll take 2 down to 16. They have 3 cards. This might be a turn where we go for it. So just talking out loud here, I can go Pyretic Ritual, Ren's Resolve, Manamorphose, potentially into the Floodmaw. I would need a couple more spells to flip the rail. Play Pyretic Ritual. Trigger. Tails. Let's play the Ren's Resolve. Trigger. Tails. No. Pyretic Ritual, Ren's Resolve is great. Play Tails. No again. And now another Ren's Resolve. So this is the 4th instant or sorcery this turn. Say no. Ren's Resolve. Play the Reckless Impulse. This is number 5. Say Tails. No. So the next one I'm allowed to flip. I actually forgot my auto yield was on, or else I would have played Manamorphose in response there, because if this flips now, the Manamorphose costs 1 more. But I didn't win the flip. Play the Wish. In response, I'll Manamorphose. And the opponent concedes the match. Wow. Okay. Well, we're 2-0 with Modern Ruby Storm featuring Redirect Lightning. Didn't use it this matchup because we didn't side it in, but the deck is looking pretty strong so far. Let's try to get the next match. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our Modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3 on the play. Sure. So we don't have any actual cards that do anything, but we do have a couple draw steps. We're on the play with a Surveil. Turn 2 Rail Monsoon Mage. It's possible. Our opponent with a mulligan. Surveil. I think we keep the Flame of Anor. Pass the turn. Blooded Strand, okay. I'll play Aaron Mesa and just send it back. You could jam the Rail Monsoon Mage into open mana. I think that's a little risky. I'd like to see what else is going on here. They search out Meticulous Archive. Emperor of Bones. So this is the Esper Goryo's Vengeance deck. It does play Solitude. Yeah, I'm checking Goldfish right now. It looks like the removal is Prismatic Ending in Solitude. We'll grab the other Thundering Falls. Keep the Reckless Impulse. I could try to jam here. So we could go Pyretic Ritual, Rail Monsoon Mage, Desperate Ritual. I'm not against it. If they have Solitude, I could respond and try to flip it with another Ritual. Pyretic Ritual. Play the Rail Monsoon Mage. And we'll try a Desperate Ritual. There's the Solitude. Liquor Wisp. So that means that it's not Goryo's Vengeance. And it's the Esper Blink deck. Okay. I would like 2 Desperate Ritual. And you want to do this now before they can Ephemerate the Solitude. We really need to win this flip here. They have another Solitude. Wow. Okay. That's brutal. You're not in a good spot. Tails. So I'll end up with 6 mana and a Reckless Impulse, but I'm not sure what we're going to do with 4 mana floating. Play the Reckless Impulse. Wish and Past in Flames. It's probably better to have the Past in Flames in the graveyard. And we'll pass the turn. So we have 1 wish that's going to be exiled permanently, which means we have 1 wish to win the game with. They grab a basic swamp. Interesting that they didn't grab a Surveil land there. Emperor of Bones, no! Ah, that's so brutal. I guess I could wish this turn. I forgot that it's until the end of the next turn. We'll cycle Manamorphose. Blue-red. Bloodstained Mire. So do I want to cantrip, or do I want to kill the Emperor of Bones? I could Molten Collapse the Emperor of Bones, so that I'd lose a land. No 1 mana removal in the sideboard for the Emperor of Bones. This is a tough call. Alright, I'll fetch. I think I'm going to just draw 2. Maybe I should just Mind Collapse and use the resources I have available. Yeah, I'll just play the Mind Collapse. Kill the Emperor of Bones, sacrifice the basic land, I guess. Pass the turn. Overlord of the Baelmerk. Mills double Thoughtseize and another Overlord. They returned Emperor of Bones. Another Flame of Anor. We'll draw 2. Okay, so now I just need some mana. Emperor of Bones is back. They exile Flame of Anor. Probably should have been the wish. We'll play Rail Monsoon Mage. And Ren's Resolve. Trigger the Rail. Do you have another Solitude here? Is that what this pause is? They do. Solitude number 3. Okay. Ren's Resolve. And we'll pass the turn. Emperor of Bones. They exile Overlord of the Baelmerk. And now they adapt. This is 9 damage coming in. That's a lot. They got a Quantum Riddler. Okay. Now they return Solitude to their hand. Not in a great spot. Another Rail Monsoon Mage. So we have a... I really wish I had that 4th land right now. So I could Ren's Resolve hoping to hit a land. The problem is that I'm dead on board. So if I hit a fetch land, it puts me to 8, and then I could Ren's Resolve. But if I do that, I am dead to... Actually, no, I'm not. They can't adapt this again. So I wouldn't be dead. Okay, I guess I'll Ren's Resolve. We hit the fetch land, and now I can play Artist Talent. Okay. We will pass the turn. I think I just realized that I miscounted the Solitudes. I think the Solitude that surprised me last time, they returned with Overlord of the Baelmerk, and I just didn't realize it. Because they started the game with 2 Solitudes. They returned 1, that was number 3, and then they returned another with Emperor of Bones. So it just took me a second to realize what happened. Okay, so it's the same 2 Solitudes that they've used all game. They play a Witch Enchanter. We'll take a draw. Interesting spot. So I could level up the Artist Talent and then Desperate Ritual, discard Flame of Anor, and then Ren's Resolve. There's only 4 rituals left in the deck and 3 Manamorphose because a lot of them are already in my graveyard. Alternatively, I could play Rail Monsoon Mage, pass the turn, we know they have Solitude, and then in response to the Solitude, I Flame of Anor. So if I Ren's Resolve, I'd go down to 2 red. So level up, Desperate Ritual, Ren's Resolve, 2 red floating. I'd have to spike another ritual in the top 2. Manamorphose wouldn't get the job done, and there's only 4 rituals. I suppose I would get a couple triggers off of the Artist Talent. Maybe that's the line then. Because I'd be dead to Ophelia, if they flash that in. There's no guarantee that the rail flips off the Solitude. So we'll level up Artist Talent, play the Desperate Ritual, trigger. I think I'll actually discard the Rail Monsoon Mage, another Reckless Impulse, play the Ren's Resolve, discard the Flame of Anor, another Artist Talent, okay. Ren's Resolve. Manamorphose is fine, it keeps us in the game. Discard the Artist Talent, another Past in Flames, make red. Manamorphose does it here. Beautiful. Discard Past in Flames. Manamorphose, red. Play the land. Cast Past in Flames. Discard Wooded Foothills. Past in Flames. Heretic Ritual. Get rid of Arid Mesa. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. So I'll Manamorphose. I don't think I want to discard either of the cards in my hand, though. Red. Manamorphose. Get rid of the Valakut Awakening. Red. Manamorphose. From 8. Well, discard Hero's Hangout, I suppose. Another Ritual, okay. Red-blue. Flame of Anor, I'll target myself. Discard the Rail Monsoon Mage. We just have to find the other copy of Wish. Play Reckless Impulse. Discard Wooded Foothills. Reckless Impulse. Play Ren's Resolve. Discard the Gemstone Caverns. This is game 1. I've already used half my clock. I need to get moving a little bit. Desperate Ritual. I had some people in the comments of the last one saying that I should splice more often. Whoops, I'm too busy talking and missed the discard there. Because I'm so low on clock, I'm not going to bother right now. I just need to focus on winning this game quickly. Play another Ren's Resolve. 8 cards left in my deck. Where is that other Wish? Okay. Play another Ren's Resolve. Discard the Arid Mesa. Still no Wish. There it is. Okay, so Pyretic Ritual. Discard Hero's Hangout. Play the Wish. Discard Ruby Medallion. Pyretic Ritual. No. Pyretic Ritual. We do not want to trigger the Artist Talent when we have no deck left. Flashback Past in Flames. I'm trying to set this up so that way I have double Wish on the stack, so it's theoretically protected by Redirect Lightning, the Grape Shot, in case they have a Consigned to Memory. I realize it's game 1, but I have seen a couple Consigned to Memories in the main decks previously. Play another Wish. No. And Grape Shot. Say no. Yeah, I've literally used half my clock in this game 1. Clicking as fast as I can. All at you. They're at 1. There's 6 copies of Grape Shot on this deck. I think they're seeing if they can do any Solitude tricks here to live. They cannot. Alright, so half my clock is gone. They do play Surgical Extraction in the sideboard. So there's a chance that maybe I would like to bring in a win condition. And I think I'd rather have the empty in the main deck. There's a couple lists that have High Noon. So maybe into the Flood Maw. They are a Thoughtseize deck, so I'm also interested in Redirect Lightning. This is a lot of cards. So you can probably board out 1 Past in Flames. Get rid of the Hero's Hangouts. The question is, what else are you supposed to do? I wonder if it's crazy to board out the Flame of Anor. There's no, like, creature I'm really looking to kill. But I think it makes some sense. And then maybe you leave 1 Redirect Lightning in the board for Wish. Although it's very good against Thoughtseize. And Solitude. I think I want all 4. I wonder if it's crazy to board out a land on the draw. Probably. I'll shave 1 copy of Artist Talent and we'll try this. Good hand. Keep. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with my using of F6, so that way I don't time out. 12.5 minutes is not a lot for 2 games, so I'm going to just try to save as much time as possible, maybe shortcut and fetch and surveil on my main phase, that sort of thing. Managing the clock is a big part of Magic Online. They kept 6 cards. Hallowed Fountain. We'll play Thundering Falls. I think I want to keep the land. Pass. Basic Plains. We'll play the Scalding Tarn. I don't think I want to play Ruby Medallion into Consigned to Memory, so I think here I'll just play a Reckless Impulse. Ruby Medallion and a Bloodstained Mire. Okay. That's not terrible. Here's the Felia. Sure. Land number 3. They attack. Nothing for them to blink here. We'll play the Bloodstained Mire and Ruby Medallion. They use Consigned to Memory with Replicate. Sure. Now they fetch with Flooded Strand. Burn Undercity Sewers. So I can't F6 on their next turn unless I want to just fetch Surveil immediately, just because there is Ashiok Dream Renderer in their deck. Overlord of the Baelmerk. Sure. So they get to blink this turn with the Felia. Flicker Wisp and another Felia. They took the Flicker Wisp. And now they swing. They can blink the Overlord, and it will come back as a creature. They play Witch Enchanter as a land. Okay, interesting. Boggart Trawler, or another Felia. They return the Boggart Trawler, will fetch and surveil. Thundering Falls, keep the Manamorphose. I think I'll play the Bloodstained Mire here just to thin a hair. I don't think the 1 life is going to matter this game. Grab the Mountain, and Ruby Medallion. Hopefully this one resolves. It does. Play Ren's Resolve. Did not hit a Ritual. We'll play Manamorphose. Red. Play this Ren's Resolve from exile. Hit a Pyretic Ritual. We'll play that. And I did hit a Redirect Lightning. Another Ren's Resolve. Need some mana here. 2 more lands. Another Ren's Resolve. Rail Monsoon Mage and another Ruby Medallion. I think I played the Rail Monsoon Mage and pass. Whole lot of lands. We know that they have a Boggart Trawler, so they can exile my graveyard. Our opponent is tapping for 2 white mana. They played the Boggart Trawler as a land. Okay. Flicker Wisp. They're going to blink the Boggart Trawler, so this will make it come back as a creature on the end step. And now they swing. The Overlord triggers. And they hit Solitude. No way! So that means they can exile my Rail with the Solitude, and then Flicker Wisp on the end step to exile my Ruby Medallion. That's honestly insane. No blocks. Make them use the Solitude, I guess. Wow. Very good turn for the opponent. And now they Solitude. Yep. I don't think we're going to be able to win this. I would need like running perfects off of Reckless Impulse and my draw step. So now the Boggart Trawler comes back, and then Flicker Wisp exiles my Ruby Medallion. And we hit another land. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to win this. I'll play Ruby Medallion. Double Ritual off of Reckless Impulse. I don't know if that even does it. But it doesn't matter because I hit more lands. Alright, we're dead. That was insane. That was a lot of lands. Submit. Game 3 on the play. I don't think I'm allowed to keep this. This is fine. I think I'll get rid of a land. They also mulliganed. Scalding Tarn pass. They used their Marsh Flats for a Watery Grave. Are we going to get to redirect a Thoughtseize here? Oh my. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen in this video, but I'm pretty excited that it is. Grab Steam Vents. Yes. Redirect that Thoughtseize. Target you. So now they get to choose the card. And we see that they have Prismatic Ending, Consigned to Memory, Boggart Trawler, and 2 lands. They probably discard the Boggart Trawler. And they do. Play the Wooded Foothills. I'll fetch and play the Ren's Resolve. Land Desperate Ritual. Flooded Strand. Into the Floodmaw. Not super helpful here. Play the land. We'll just burn the Desperate Ritual and pass. It's better to be in the graveyard. Or I could empty. Make them use the Consigned to Memory here. And then maybe something else later is relevant. Yeah, I think I like that. And if they don't Consign to Memory, they have no blockers at the moment. The empty could go the distance. They're making a black. I think you're trying to make a blue. And they do use the Consign to Memory. Okay. I have 2 goblins. And now they're going to use the Flooded Strand. And they search out a Shadowy Backstreet. They put Flicker Wisp to the graveyard. Interesting. Honestly, I'm a little surprised by that because they could have played the Flooded Strand, Flicker Wisp, blink a token, and then I'm on a clock. So, surprised that they surveilled away Flicker Wisp. Clarion Conqueror, okay. We'll play Reckless Impulse. Gemstone Cavern's Wish. Trying to think if I want to bounce the Clarion Conqueror or not. They have Prismatic Ending and 1 unknown. I'll bounce the Clarion Conqueror, and then we'll attack. They're at 11. It's back with a Polluted Delta. So Prismatic Ending and 1 unknown. Another Floodmaw. So I have Wish plus 3 mana. That does not do a whole lot here. We'll fetch. I'm really not sure what the play is. I think maybe it's Hero's Hangout. There's no point in doing Artist Talent. I could have burned the Ritual to play Flame of Anor to draw 2, but I don't think I love that either. And then Hero's Hangout, Ruby Medallion, or Arid Mesa. It might be crazy, but knowing that they have Prismatic Ending, I think it's Arid Mesa. Arid Mesa grabs one of my Surveil lands, and I can't afford to attack here. And the nice thing about the Arid Mesa is I would have 6 mana for Past in Flames if I drew it. They grab Meticulous Archive. It's rid of a Marsh Flats. Overlord of the Bale Merc. Okay. Mills over High Noon and a Witch Enchanter. They return Boggart Trawler. I don't love that. I will bounce the Clarion Conqueror because they can't recast it here. They play Witch Enchanter as a land, and now they can play the Boggart Trawler. I'm going to lose my graveyard. Yep. Okay. They're at 7. We draw another land. I think I just have to pass. Trying to think of what a winning game even looks like from here. I think it's just like I have to chain a bunch of like Ren's Resolves. Another Overlord of the Baelmerk. Quantum Riddler and Solitude. So they have Solitude, Prismatic Ending, and apparently Flicker Wisp. They're going to blink the Overlord of the Baelmerk. And now they swing, I'll block. And now the Overlord of the Baelmerk returns. I'm sorry, that was the countdown trigger. This is the one that returns. They return another Solitude. And step I'll fetch. Grab Thundering Falls. Well, that's a start. Ren's Resolve. They're at 3.5 minutes, which is plenty of time to kill me. We'll play the Ren's Resolve into double land. Oh, I just flooded out both post-board games. We'll play Thundering Falls. Ritual doesn't save me. And unfortunately, I have to pass. They Thoughtseize and see that I have nothing. They Prismatic Ending my Goblin, and now they can attack me down to 1. They return Boggart Trawler. I really don't know what a winning game looks like anymore. My graveyard's gone. And let's see what it is. Certainly not another land. Disappointing. I feel like this match got away from me. Both post-board games, we just drew so many lands. But that happens in Magic, you know. We're now 2-1. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Round number 4, looking to bounce back after that tough loss in match number 3. This seems fine enough. We'll keep. Scalding Tarn and pass the turn. They play Sink in a Stupor as a land. This could be Blue Belcher. We'll fetch with the Scalding Tarn. Belcher is traditionally a tough matchup for this deck. Keep the Artist Talent. We'll fetch out a Mountain and Ruby Medallion. Hopefully it resolves. And it does. Sweet. Not Belcher. Okay. So this might be the Simic Birthing Ritual deck. And it is. Okay. Play another Bloodstained Mire. And they're a Harbinger of the Seas deck. So I'd like to go grab another basic land here. We'll play Artist Talent. That resolves. And a Reckless Impulse. Trigger the Artist Talent. Get rid of Gemstone Caverns. Reckless Impulse. They are a Flare of Denial deck. So we have to keep that in mind. And there it is. I will just pass the turn. They play another Sink in a Stupor as a land. Shardless Agent, which reveals an Ice Fang Coatl. Alright, they have 6 cards in their hand. We'll try a Manamorphose. Discard Bloodstained Mire. Manamorphose on the stack. Red, red. Let's try another Ren's Resolve trigger. I think I'll get rid of the Hero's Hangout. Fast in Flames, that's a good one. Play Desperate Ritual, and I think I'd like to Splice. So if they counter this, which they could, it buys them a turn, but 6 mana I think is worth it here for the Splice, and that resolved. I will level up the Artist Talent, and then I'll attempt a Wish. No. Wish. And now I can Desperate Ritual. Say no. And the interesting thing now is I can Past in Flames, and if they have Endurance, I can Redirect Lightning. Play Past in Flames. Sweet. We had Redirect Lightning back up, which is pretty good. I don't know if I'm even supposed to sideboard for this matchup. Maybe bringing in like a Grape Shot, just so that way I don't lose to Surgical. And I'm saying Grape Shot here because they're a deck full of small creatures. We'll board out 1 Hero's Hangout and try this. Yo dog, I heard you like Rail Monsoon Mage. We're going to keep, because if they Flare of Denial and Dismember, I will still have a 3rd creature to help me win. I think that's worth it. I realize that triple Rail is not ideal, but they do bring in Dismembers. They play Flare of Denial. This hand is resilient to interaction, which I think is what we want. Our opponent mulligans, we will keep. They play a Verdant Catacombs and pass. Scalding Tarn, pass. On the end step, they use Verdant Catacombs for a Hedge Maze. And it looks like they're going to pass. If I had to guess, they're going to flash in an Ice Fang Coatl on the end step. My end step, that is. Thundering Falls. I don't really need a Wish, so I will Surveil that away. I don't have to worry as much because the Grape Shot's in our main deck right now. Esper Ritual, decent draw. And now we just start playing our Rail Monsoon Mages until one of them sticks. Here's the first one. It is resolved. End step they fetch for a breeding pool. Oh no, it's an Ice Fang Coatl. That's so crazy. It was not at all telegraphed. They play Sink in a Stupor as a land. And here's the Dismember. Yep. Now they attack for 1. They have 4 cards in their hand at the moment. Ruby Medallion. Let's play Rail Monsoon Mage number 2. This one resolves. Another Ice Fang Coatl. Sure. They play Quantum Riddler. And another Dismember. They're at 5. Okay. I go to 15. Look who's a genius for keeping triple Rail Monsoon Mage right now. We'll play Arid Mesa. I wonder if it's actually better to play Ruby Medallion. It probably isn't, but it's just a thought. Because they could have Force of Negation. Like, Flare of Denial hits both. I'll play Rail Monsoon Mage. They have a Subtlety. I will fetch and Surveil. Thundering Falls. Keep the Ritual underneath. And then we'll just put the Rail Monsoon Mage back on top. They swing for 2, I'll go to 12. They have 3 cards in their hand. Play a Rail Monsoon Mage. Another Subtlety. I mean, honestly, I'm fine with this. Goes back on top. We'll pass the turn. They have 1 card and they're about to draw an unknown. Quantum Riddler. They swing. Ouch. Alright, so they have 3 cards in hand. We'll play another Rail Monsoon Mage. This time it sticks. And I'll just pass. No need to try to force it here. I can just wait until next turn when I have more mana available. They play Besiju Who Endures. 3 mana here. Is this an Oculus? It is. Okay, 2 cards in their hand. They swing. Ouch. The Oculus happens. We'll begin with a Pyretic Ritual. Trigger the Rail Monsoon Mage. Tails. No, I do not want to transform. We'll play Ren's Resolve. Trigger. This is spell number 2. Tails again. I go to 7. Play another Reckless Impulse. Tails. I go to 6. Spell number 3. There's the Grape Shot. So, if we can find a way to beat Consign to Memory. Play the Desper Ritual. This is spell number 4. Tails. Say no. Desper Ritual. We'll play Hero's Hangout. And the opponent just concedes. Nice. So we're 3-1. 1 match left to go. Feeling pretty good about the list. Let me know what you think of it, but maybe wait and watch match number 5. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy of the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. The final match. On the draw, we have no mana. We have to send this one back. This is a keep. Get rid of the Arid Mesa. And let's see what we can make happen. They have their own Arid Mesa. Play Thundering Falls. Keep the Desper Ritual. On the end step, they fetch with Arid Mesa for a Meticulous Archive. Okay. Surveils away Solitude. So likely one of the Blink decks again. They play Witch Enchanter. So good chance Felia is coming down here. Play Ruby Medallion. That resolved and will pass. We have to hope that they don't have a Prismatic Ending. There's the Felia. Flicker Wisp would also be a problem. And it looks like they have it here. The Fairy Time Raveler, okay. Because Flicker Wisp would blink their land, and then they get to blink the Teferi here, that's cool. They would get to blink it, and then on the end step it would come back and kill the Ruby Medallion. They have 5 cards, and they got rid of a Solitude, which might mean that they have another in hand. I'll play the Rail Monsoon Mage. I think it's the highest upside play that I can make. Desper Ritual, trigger. If they have the Solitude, it's unfortunate, but if I'm going to win this, I think you're supposed to do this play, because if I play Medallion pass, they can just bounce it again with Teferi next turn, and I'm going nowhere. But they have the Solitude. My Rail is going to become exiled. Alright, Desper Ritual. So what I can do here is Manamorphose into Flame of Anor, and then kill the Felia. Make blue, red. Would it be better to draw 2? I think I'm going to kill the Felia. Because it's a draw engine right now with the Teferi Time Raveler, and we'll pass. They bounce the Ruby Medallion, Flagstones, Legend Roll, so now they can search their deck for a Plains. They grab Meticulous Archive, surveils away White Orchid Phantom, And here's another. They kill my Thundering Falls. I'll go grab my last basic land. Ren's Resolve. Alright, we'll play Ruby Medallion. And Ren's Resolve. Double Ritual. I like that. We stand a chance at winning next turn. I say a chance because it's not guaranteed. But it's looking pretty good if the Ruby Medallion sticks around. I will say that. They plus the Teferi Time Raveler. 3 cards in their hand. They swing. Ouch. I'm at 16. They add a blue and then they fetch with Flooded Strand for a Hallowed Fountain. Is this a Quantum Riddler? What's going on? Another Teferi, maybe? Yeah, okay, there it is. And now they can bounce the Ruby Medallion again. And there's a Quantum Riddler. They bounce the Ruby Medallion. Alright. It looks like they also might just be Azorius. Like, they might not have a third splash color. Or they're just hiding it for now. Pyretic Ritual. Pyretic Ritual. We'll play Ren's Resolve, floating 4. Play the Wooded Foothills. We'll fetch. Grab Steam Vents. I go to 13. Manamorphose. Blue-red. We'll play Heroes Hangout. I will choose Reckless Impulse. We'll play Reckless Impulse. And I'm not going to risk it. I will just play Past in Flames here. And then Pyretic Ritual. Pyretic Ritual. Ren's Resolve. We reveal another Past in Flames in a land. Reckless Impulse. Manamorphose and a Hero's Hangout. We'll play Manamorphose from the graveyard. Red. Sure, we'll play Artist Talent. Desperate Ritual. Discard the Scalding Tarn. Play Manamorphose. Discard the Rail Monsoon Mage. I realize I could play it, I just don't think I need to. And it's more triggers. I'm just trying to find Wish as fast as possible here. Ren's Resolve. Discard the land. Ren's Resolve. Cast Desperate Ritual. Discard the Ruby Medallion. Play Reckless Impulse. 24 cards left in deck. I should auto-yield to this so I can stop clicking on it. Hero's Hangout was the draw. We'll play another Ren's Resolve. Discard the Hero's Hangout. Draw Manamorphose. Guess we'll play Manamorphose, why not? Red. Play Desperate Ritual. Discard the Artist Talent. Storm is 22. I swear I play Wish. It's somewhere in my deck. Not yet. Play another Reckless Impulse. Play Manamorphose. We'll make blue-red. Play Pyretic Ritual. Discard the Rail Monsoon Mage. There we go. Play Wish. And a Grape Shot. Okay, we win game number 1. I still think I'd like to try Empty the Warrens as the win condition I'm going to sideboard in. And I want some number of Into the Flood Maws. Board out 1 Past in Flames. I think I want some number of Redirect Lightning. I mean, I don't know if they're actually playing black. Like, is it good versus the build that's just Azorius or Jeskai? If they're Jeskai, they do have Lightning Bolts. Yeah, I think I want some number of Redirect Lightning. Maybe not all 4, though. And this is 61. I'll shave an Artist Talent again. Let's try this. Game 2, Reasonable Hand we will keep. They took a mulligan and they lead off with a Meticulous Archive. Arid Mesa will pass. They have a Flooded Strand, Hallowed Fountain, Damping Sphere. That's not cool. We'll fetch. They have 4 cards in their hand. We'll grab a Thundering Falls. Think we might want the land. Play Steam Vents. And I'll pass. They play Hallowed Fountain. 4 cards in their hand. Okay, well the second rail means I think I feel safe enough to play out the first. Pass the turn. They blink in an Ophelia, Exuberant Shepherd. 3 white mana here. Is Prismatic Ending? You'd want a blue for that. March of Otherworldly Light. Okay. And then they swing. They blink out their own Damping Sphere, sure. 3 cards in their hand. Flame of Anor. Wow, that was a draw. I will play the Rail Monsoon Mage. And I can't play the Flame of Anor here. But I can look for a window where I can try to resolve this and kill both the Ophelia and the Damping Sphere. They blink the Damping Sphere. Alright. Maybe this is a greedy line trying to get both and I should have just killed the Damping Sphere, but we'll see. I will kill the Damping Sphere and 5 Ophelia. If they hardcast Force of Negation, I'm going to feel kind of sad. I was hoping that they'd play a creature pre-combat. But I guess if I had done it on my main phase, they could have Force of Negation. So that would have been a reason not to do it. Okay, so they have 3 cards in hand now. Sanctifier and Vec. The Empty the Warrens is in my main deck, so I can't wish for it here. But we do have 5 spells I can cast. Well, Desperate Ritual plus Splice. Also, notice how I paid 3 mana for that? I had a bunch of people telling me in the comment section that Rail Monsoon Mage reduces the splice cost of Desperate Ritual, so it only costs double red. That's not how it works. You could joke and say it's a paper play move, also known as cheating, but it does cost 3. I'll say Tails, no. Ren's Resolve, Tails, Past in Flames. Not good versus Sanctifier and Vec. But what I could do is Wish, and then bounce the Sanctifier and Vec, which I don't think I hate. I'll say no, Tails, no. And then I will bounce the Sanctifier and Vec. This is the 4th spell of the turn. Okay. Reckless Impulse, Tails, another Rail Monsoon Mage. We'll play Pyretic Ritual, Tails. I win this time, so I can transform. And now I should be able to ultimate the Rail Leyline Prodigy. Exile. That was not particularly amazing. We'll play another Rail Monsoon Mage. And let's Manamorphose. Trigger the Rail. Say Tails. We win the flip. I will transform. Red. I suppose we can bounce the Thalia here. And then we'll ultimate the Rail Leyline Prodigy. There's some mana. Okay, so Storm is 10. There is a Wish in my graveyard, and I just exiled one. Okay. The opponent saw the writing on the wall and conceded. Nice, so we went 4-1. I thought Redirect Lightning looked pretty good. We got to swerve a removal spell and Lightning Bolt. We also got to change the target of a Thoughtseize. We did not get to swerve a Thraben Charm or Orim's Chant, but we didn't face any decks that were really doing that. Like, we didn't face Energy, for example. I thought the deck looked pretty good. Is this the list moving forward? I don't know. I'm going to need your feedback to help me figure that out. But I did like it. I thought it looked pretty impressive. So let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always open to feedback, or, if you think I'm doing something wrong, tell me why, so that way I can learn and make better content for you in the future. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, keep storming. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and after you do that, click that join button. It contains all of our membership information, such as access to our members exclusive Discord, members exclusive videos, and the best perk in my opinion, you can watch all of our videos early, 1 to 2 weeks in advance. That way you're always up to date on the latest and greatest content.